Greetings YouTube, this is Sixus, and today I'm bringing you a deck profile of EV Sceptile's Invoked Crusadia deck. Beginning with the main deck, he runs 3 copies of Crusadia Reclusia. Now, in regards to the main deck Crusadias, all of them have the effect that they can be special from your hand to a zone that your link monster points to. And Reclusia's unique effect is that you can target one Crusadia card you control and one card your opponent controls to destroy both targets. Nice even destruction. Then we got 3 copies of Crusadia Arborea. This is a warrior monster that's also tunal, and its effect is not only can it be special from your hand, like I mentioned all of them, it also has the effect that if a Crusadia card you control would be destroyed, you can banish it from your field or graveyard instead. Then we got 3 copies of Crusadia Lioness. So Lioness lets you target a Crusadia link monster you control. It can now deal piercing damage. Fairly simple. Then there's 3 copies of Crusadia Draco. When this card is special summoned to a zone a link monster points to, you can target a Crusadia card in your graveyard, add that to your hand. And onto the invoked aspect, 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker. As you know, the effect is on summon, you can just add an invocation. And also you can discard it in order to have a fusion monster gain 1000 attack. That last part doesn't get used too much. Then 2 copies of Crusadia Maximus. This level 4 allows you to target a Crusadia link monster you control, and it can now deal double damage. Pretty much meaning that if you have Maximus and Lioness on the field, you can turn your boss monster into a Chaos Max. And because of the way the link monsters work, its kaijus are very beneficial, so we decided to go with 3 high attack ones, and the benefit for these is that we have a wind, a fire, and a light, allowing for invoked targets. 1 welder that sets out Arborea. 2 terraforming to search out not only Magical Meltdown, but also the Crusadia field spell. 1 invocation. It can recycle itself, so EV doesn't think he needs more than 1. Monster Born for recovery. 3 copies of Crusadia Power. This quick play spell allows you to target 1 Crusadia monster you control. It is unaffected by all other card effects this turn. Very strong protection, honestly. And as I mentioned with Draco, it's very recoverable. We got 1 copy of Crusadia Testament. This quick play has 2 different effects. You can either activate it during damage calculation, in which a Crusadia link monster battled, and you can draw cards equal to the link rating of the Crusadia monster. So if you attack with Equimax, you'll be able to draw 3 cards. And the other effect is that you can activate this, and your opponent cannot respond to the activation of your Crusadia monster effects. Then for back row removal, 2 copies of Tristal. And now on to the 3 copies of the Crusadia field spell, that being Crusadia Revival. All Crusadia link monsters gain 500 attack, and Once per turn, you can target one Crusader Link monster you control. It can attack all monsters your opponent controls. However, your other monsters cannot attack, which can, in combination with Maximus or Lioness, become very powerful. Okay, so now we got 3 copies of Magical Meltdown. On activation, it searches Alistair the Invoker, and also prevents your opponent from responding to fusion summons. Then he wants 3 copies of the continuous trap card Crusadia Vanguard. First of all, on activation, you can tribute a Crusadia or World Legacy monster you control, and then special on one with a different name from your deck. And the continuous effect is that while you control a Crusadia Link monster, your opponent's monsters can only attack that Link monster. So basically, kind of a battle lockdown. Now onto the Link monsters, we start off with Magius. Crusadia Magius is a Link one that takes any Crusadia monster except for itself. And the effect that all the Crusadia Links have in common is that they gain attack equal to the original attack of the monsters they point to. And also, the cards that it points to cannot attack. Pretty much making the field spell a little bit redundant. And Magius's unique effect is that when a monster is special to the zone this card points to, you can add any Crusadia monster to your hand, which plays off really well with the next one, Regulus. So Regulus is a Link 2, takes any 2 effect monsters, including Crusadia, and when a monster is summoned to this card's Link zone, you can add any Crusadia spell trap card from your deck to your hand. So immediate access to the field spell, the trap card, Power, Testament. Very good touching. And then we have the boss monster that is Crusadia Equimax. This one, as opposed to the previous ones that yes had an effect when something was summoned to its zone, this one has the effect that you can negate an effect by attributing a Crusadia or World Legacy card this card points to. Let's see. Oh, correction. It doesn't destroy it like most of them. It just negates the effect, and it doesn't have to be in response. So it's a quick effect. Very useful. And it just takes 2 or more effect monsters, including a Link monster. And as you noticed, because they can special them from your hand to a Link zone, it's very easy to build using as 2 Crusadia monsters. So let's say you summon one. You then use that one to go into Magius. Very simple. Then you can special one from your hand to that card zone. And by doing that, you're going to get a search for another Crusadia. And that means you can just go ahead and use these 2, link into Regulus. You can now special on the one you add to your hand to that zone. You can now add to your hand Power. And yeah, then you have to use Regulus and the one you special summoned. And you now have Equimax with a Label of Protection using only 2 cards. It's also a very powerful deck in that regard. And because Aboya is a level 3 tuner and a lot of the deck is level 4 monsters, we won 2 Sync 7s. In this case it's Clearing and Black Rose. Very straightforward. And as far as the invoked targets, we have Raging, which is a Book of Moon using Alastor and a Wind monster. And as you can see, we ran the Wind Kaiju. Invoked Purgatrio. So Purgatrio takes a Fire monster and Alastor, and it gains 200 attack for each card your opponent controls. It can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and it can deal piercing damage. And the base attack is 2300, so if you summon it to a zone a Link monster points to, that one's getting 2300 attack, which is a very big boost. Then we got Invoked Mechaba, which is even better because you will now, let's say you already have Equimax on the field. You can then fusion summon this to its zone. It's going to not only gain 25 attack, but you now have 2 layers of negation. Also by the fact that all of the Link monsters are light, so you can just use those from the graveyard after you use them for a Link summon. And finally, we have Megalencia. It has no effect, but has 3000 attack, and it just takes an Earth, which is very convenient. And can just give Equimax a massive boost, which can work really well with Maximus's double damage, or Revival's ability to let it attack all your opponent's monsters. So as you can see, it's a beatdown deck that can have a lot of protection and negation in it. But yeah, that's EV Sceptile's Invoked Crusadia deck. And that's all for this time.